Transponders?
Transponders. So every the day before each race, we had to check all the bikes. In the past, before COVID, you'd have to push the bike with a helmet and a jersey. And the reason for that is they want to make sure that there's a hats-off system in the helmet that's required by the AMA. And then with the jersey, it's got to have certain logos on it, and the name and number has to be visible and matching what's on the bike. And then the bike check, they want to make sure that like your wheels aren't falling apart. I know one of the biggest things is like the little balls on the end of the levers. Make sure they're still there so no one gets stabbed and penetrated. Like your foot pegs are folding and returning, those types of things. Just a real quick check, and once that's done, you normally go back. But with COVID, we don't got to take the bikes anymore. We just go in and we initial next to everything. And that's one of the things is management on the day before race days. Like today, we're down here early, mechanics, and we're going and prepping the bikes. Go make sure we go through tech and all that stuff. So make sure all the riders' gears are ready. Like Alex, we have his goggles setting out for tomorrow so they can air dry and get to the same temperature of what we're going to be in. Because when they're outside and then you bring them in on race day, they fog up easier and stuff like that. So bring them in, get them to climate and all that stuff, and then we start doing graphics and chains and everything else that we do on our mediocre race team builds here.
So what's the agenda today? Chain, you said? So
put a new chain on. Alex has a chain phobia. Not a lot of people know, but he is very scared of chains. I think he's had a couple break on him, and I change the chain for Alex every ride. It doesn't need to be done as far as the chain longevity goes, but for peace of mind, we do it. And at this level, something small like that he needs a fresh one of is not the end of the world. Luckily Firepower gives us a whole lot of support, and we can make that happen for him. I will say that everyone else is running Firepower chains, and they're not changing them every race, so it's not like a chain issue. It's just a peace of mind. But if he can go into it and be that little bit more confident, then it makes a world of difference on race day. So
new chain, but not necessarily new sprockets.
No, just because of this time. And I know like the whole written rule is every time you do a chain, you do sprockets, but due to a budget thing, it's just not possible. I mean, we can't go through a new sprocket every single race. Yeah,
budgeting money and budgeting time probably,
so,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I keep an eye on them. I check them, make sure they're in good shape, and if they're not. But again, we're not changing the chains because they're too worn, and that's why normally the rule of thumb is if you change your sprocket, you change your chains and everything at once. But like I said, with us, we're changing the chain way too premature for a mind thing than it is a performance thing.
You guys, I'm assuming, don't run stock batteries, do you?
No, so we run a Firepower battery. The importance of the battery is actually very big. I know AJ's had an experience with an OEM battery actually causing a bog. It going bad. Once it starts losing a little bit of power on the battery side, it actually was creating a very random bog for him, to where I first started like switching out fuel pump, switching out like spark plug, checking those types of like your kind of go-to bog issues on a fuel injected bike. And then for some reason, I remember talking to the guys at Firepower who sponsor us and their importance of the running a Firepower battery, and I switched out batteries and it went away. So just putting in another, just a Firepower battery instead of an OEM one made a huge difference. Pala this year, or last year I guess technically, Outdoor Nationals, Alex was running like 18th and his bike shut off on him. And the OEM batteries, when they get too hot, they actually shut off. And the way this electrical system works is once the battery shuts off, it shuts off the entire bike. So he had to wait like 2.5 minutes, and then he was able to fire it back up because it cooled down, and he went. We put a Firepower battery in it, we never had another issue. And the only reason why there wasn't a Firepower battery in it at that time was he ran a new bike, and they just never switched it out. We cleaned the bikes, like so we're getting ready, so we're heading over. The AMA actually sets up a power wash station for us to power wash all the bikes. So I'm gonna go in there. It's really dark though. I don't think they paid the electrical bill because the lights aren't working. But besides that, everything's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open this door up here. You got a magic touch. You can charge of all this. So normally we tech here at this trailer, but since it's cold as crap out, we've been teching inside. Which is what we talked about earlier about the transponders and things like that. So we're just doing, as much bike work as we can. Unfortunately, we're still a working class team, so like Jeremy's mechanic is back out at where he needs to be for work. So makes my job, and honestly Spencer's job, he picks up a lot of my short clients too, much easier, or much harder in that sense, because we got to do all this shit together. So
Yeah.
we're not racing on Tuesdays and all of that. We actually have more time in between the rounds to get the bikes prepped. So we do a little bit better prep, pretty much taking down to the frame in between those rounds. But with it being so cold, they won't let us in the stadium until Friday, which is today. So the last couple of days, no one could work on them. And it's too cold for us to work on them outside. I'm just trying to ice as soon as we start washing them. So we're really in like a jam to get everything done as best we can. And then they shut down the pits in about, what, 30 minutes now?
Yeah.
So we got about 30 minutes to finish this up and get us back into the area where we're going to store it for the night. And then I'll do the rest of the work in the hotel room like we have been. And then we'll get here early morning as soon as they let us in and finish up the rest of the bike work so it's ready to go for race day. Welcome to Indy 3, round 6 of Supercross. It's a early morning here. I'm excited. We got all the mechanics working on the bikes and just getting everything squared away. It's been a little bit tough. This week has just been Mike, Alex Ray's mechanic, was diagnosed with pneumonia. So he's been a little under the weather and he ended up going back home, which on a management side, it's been stressful. It's just every day it's a different issue that you don't want to have to deal with. So we hope he gets better and all that stuff, but I'm back to wrenching again for Alex this weekend while we have all these things, and AJ is going to wrench for AJ again. So Team AJ will be there. We normally do our bike work yesterday, and for some reason they decided to shut down the pits in here at 5 o'clock. We didn't get a chance to get as much done as we always do. Like, we normally change all the plastics and graphics, and we just ran out of time with it just because of we were kind of like pushed out at the last minute yesterday, and we've been here for a whole week, and that hasn't happened yet. We've been staying here late. Why it changed yesterday, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, it's a financial thing with staff. Just they weren't going to pay the staff extra hours, and just they were going to push us out. So that being said, I also did a new mesh trick that seems to be working so far. So I ran some safety wire that people use for like nuts and bolts. A lot of people use it for grips. So the common. I got the idea from Pete from Traction MX, talking to him yesterday. But we ended up running some safety wire through the top, and I can just kind of crimp it so it stays on my nose. Okay. I mean, in an hour, it may put me in the eye. I don't know if it's safe, but I can see right now.
That's a really good idea.
So that's why they pay me the big bucks, dude.
Yeah, seriously. Well, don't you pay you, but...
Yeah, I guess it's really not that ingenious. Maybe today will be the day we get the 2 riders or more in the main.
Could be the day.
It could be the day.
How are we feeling today, boys?
Good. I'm good.
You putting her in the main or what?
I think so. I think it's my style track. I have like a shorter whoop section, technical rhythm, so I'm excited.
Want to give me a quick synopsis of how you got this gig?
So, last year I did an intern through the Collective Experience. So I got a hold of Dave. Dave got me over to Glendale, Arizona. So I was actually AJ's intern for the day. So I helped him with that, everything like that. And then when outdoor season came around, Jason's like, hey, I need another person, what, can you help me out? And so I was like, yeah, I'll sign up for all summer. So we did outdoors, things like that. And then Jason called me up here again for the winter time, and it's like, hey, what about Supercross? I said, I'm down. So we're here. So it's been fun. It's been a really good adventure. I'm having a blast.
Keep
first one wasn't too bad. Got all the lines. I think there's a big double quad that you got to seat bounce, and it's a lot of the 450 power. And then next section's even harder. You can go like 2, 3, 3, or like 3, 2, something like that. But it's pretty gnarly though. You really got to be on it because the transitions are pretty steep. So you got to be like pretty precise for your landing. So it's pretty tough, but I think I got all the lines good.
You got me all shook, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Me?
No, these fools over here I'm trying to be serious, and these guys are playing around. We've been very consistently going stiffer with him, but it's a real tight track, not high speed, and we're gonna come back out, make it softer for him on the front, see if it can get it settled in just a little bit better for the corners. I don't necessarily always want to go a drastic route, but that's what he wants, and sometimes on this end of it, it's just appeasing to his mental side of it, because if I were like, hey, let's cut in the middle, he's gonna go out there saying it's not gonna work before he even rides it. So just across the board, it's just easier for him to go out there and say, oh, this is way too much, and we go back to where we think it's gonna be. If it ends that way, it could be where he's dead on, and it can work out this way as well. So a normal change is about 1 or 2 clicks. We're going out 8 with him. So it's like I said, it's very drastic for this. I kind of wanted to raise the forks up a little bit in the clamps. So we're at 1 millimeter, and I'd like to go to 3. But he's afraid of having a little bit of stability go away. So we're doing what AJ wants at this point.
Dirt up under my visor,
So normally, as you've seen in probably AJ's vlogs, that I normally cook for everyone, or someone cooks for the team, but it is cold up there, and I am not trying to sit up there, so we ain't gonna do that. That is the benefit of, in case we have issues like this, of Supercross where it's in the city, where you can go half a mile down the street and get everything you need. Whereas like motocross, we've got to walk or go like an hour to go any type of civilization sometimes. So it works out well.
P7, so I'll take it.
At the end, you were P7?
Yeah, I mean, track got pretty sketchy. Someone crashed really hard, so I just want to stay safe, make it to the race, you know. So.
It's been one of those days, man. Alex hurt his wrist when him and Vince Friese's bike collided together. So we made it through the first round, but I think Tuesday just overdid it, and he's really struggling with it. And with that being said, it's not safe for him to ride. So we pretty much decided that instead of us risking it, we're gonna just kind of call it a night with him. And I think on the management side, it's the best option. It doesn't make sense for us to go out there and him run around there at 60%, but still trying to run at 100% and not be in the right headspace and get hurt. So I'm gonna sit this one out, and he should be back for Orlando. I don't think there's anything like with that stuff. It's just limiting his mobility is pretty much the worst part. So we're gonna keep on plugging along. The other riders, they're looking good. Everyone really stepped up that last practice, and I think everyone's inside the top 30. I don't know for sure, but I think everyone's inside the top 30. So I don't think we've done that yet this year. Like I said, the moods. I'm trying to stay focused with Alex and make those decisions that we need to make. And there's a lot more to it than just, okay, we're not going to race today. There's sponsors involved and things like that. So on that end, it's, we got to make sure that we're making the right decision, and ultimately that's my call. And I do consult with Alex. I want him to do what he feels comfortable with, and we don't put much pressure on the riders here with that stuff. So we're both on the same page. It's just not worth it. On a financial level, they get paid to make the night show. There's only 40 riders, so we're in the night show. He'll make his money, and that's kind of the important part for us at this point.
Let's do it.
Feeling good?
Yeah, I think so. Heat 2, so let's try to get as far as I can up in the heat as I can, and if I don't make it, then try to get a good gate pick for the LCQ, So I think I'm ready though. Track's fresh, gotta go fast.
You're good. There's a lot of them. Yeah, we're just making some adjustments because my riding's just not to par at the moment. Trying to find something, you know, always searching. But yeah, basically what we're doing is going to the second line on the fork so I can turn better in the 180 corners, and then we're messing with tire pressure right now, so I'm running 15 in the front, and we're gonna go down to 14, maybe 13, just to try to find some more feeling in the front end. Supercross is difficult, so.
What's easy?
Not bad.
13?
Yeah, I had a killer start.
Was it 13 or 15?
I think it's 13.
13? Freaking right,
I had a
bro.
killer start, and then like I was up there with the factory dudes. I was like, damn. And then faded a little bit, and then got to jump the loops better or something. They're like big but sketchy, so they'll break down some more. But gotta get that start again in LCQ, and then just go from there. Send it, you know.
We had a beautiful start. We ran 10th for about half the race, and yeah, I just started to fade, made a little bit of mistakes. But I mean, other than that, I mean, once we get all those figured out a little bit, track always changes every lap, so it's just getting gnarly, he's saying out there. So come LCQ, we'll come out swinging. Just telling him to stay hungry at it, because if he replicates his start like he just did, we're gonna top 4 easily.
What changes you making, any?
No, just loosening some air right now in the forks. They compress a lot of air into them, so get all that loosened out. So that way he's got fresh forks come LCQ.
So no bike changes?
No, not really. Just kind of going through everything. He didn't tumble, so that's a huge plus. So
Only Pitt in the team, not changing anything. So
as of right now, no.
You rolling?
oh, I'm rolling.
How's my hair?
It looks awesome, better than ever.
Honestly, when I thought we were gonna do like all these vlogs, I'd have like a hair and like makeup artist. We've kind of touched base on the Alex and his wrist stuff, so you know that didn't really change. The riders were looking good for the most part. And the third qualifier, or the third practice or last qualifier, they all looked like they turned it up some, which was good. And we went into the heats. The heats with AJ just didn't have any intensity. I don't know if he just wasn't comfortable on the bike, but just that intensity wasn't there. And then we roll into Rodbell and Smith. I think Smith got a good start.
Smith rode good
in the heat race. And then I think Rodbell got a decent start, kind of got connected with somebody else. He thought he blew out his rear wheel. Just as the night progressed, they were really trying to chase traction. A lot of them felt like tires were flat, or they just were not hooking up with the ground, which is, if you watched all the top guys in the heat races, they were crashing. There was a lot of crashes in the heat race, and it was just straight up front end traction. So they struggled with that, and then they went out in the LCQ. Rodbell got a great start, was running up there, and got passed by a couple people that, you know, probably just right now better than him. It was like Chisholm, Brayton. Those guys passed him, and he was running right around 6, and he was racing really good. Hitting his marks, every lap looked really good, and Smith got a decent start, but seemed to fade. Like he's done a couple times this season, just where rode really good, looked really good in the first couple laps, and all of a sudden he comes around another lap and it looks like a totally different person. And I don't really know what's going on that side of things. I don't know if that's just a breathing thing where he's just not used to running with those guys as much, and he's just making more mistakes. AJ charged in his LCQ, looked like he was pushing in and putting in the work and moving past people and things like that. So that was really good on his side of things. And then Rodbell grabbed another tough block with that quad again. He hit him in the first practice. He grabbed that one. I know we're going to update the board on that crap with him. I know he tweaked some stuff up there, but he got up, and with Rodbell, he's going to be great. He really is. He's just getting his feet wet in Supercross, and he's finding the ground a lot, but that's just every step of learning. His lap times and his intensity is getting better each weekend. And we may not see it in a numerical result, but it's definitely there, which is, I think that's kind of one of the downsides with a lot of teams nowadays, is they're so worried about a numerical thing that as soon as a rider stops, progressing or stops getting that numerical result, that teams just turn their back and let them go. And I think you see that a lot with, Tickle's been there with that, picked up and tossed around, and Chisholm. Chisholm's always solid. I think every single race I watch of Chisholm, it looks the exact same. It is. It's just he's so consistently fast. It's impressive. I think that's a great thing. So from here, I'm ready to get the trailer back home, and we get to go back to home base now. So we get to prep the bikes at the shop and kind of regroup and go down for a one weekend thing. So like a typical Supercross event, and it should be a little bit easier on us. And, hopefully Alex will have enough time to heal up and do what he needs to do, and everyone else can come in with a new set for, I know Rybell is now a hometown race for him since he's living in Florida. So that's good. And I think it's good. Happy as a manager side. I think the day went really well with what we had. Yeah, shit happens. Alex ain't feeling well. We had some things come up in the day, and everyone grinds through it, and that's what this stuff's all about, man. Everyone on this team and this program is just straight grinding, no matter what happens, and I love it. So we will see you guys at Orlando. I'm excited, and let's see what we can do. Maybe we'll get 2 bikes in the main, or we'll just keep talking about it or whatever. Shit.